Yo, what's going on, YouTube? And welcome back to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy Kevin Forte. We are taking a look today at the Pittsburgh Penguins as we're starting to hear about the little bit of a shift in direction. As now Brian Burke and Ron Hextall have been in Pittsburgh for a little while now. We're starting to get an idea of where the Pittsburgh Penguins stand going into this year's trade deadline. We'll be taking a look at that in this video. If you guys like what we're doing here at Goal Line Hockey, want to see the latest news around the NHL, you guys know what to do. Make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and even a bigger subscribe down below. And let's take a look at the Pittsburgh Penguins. So let's get right into it. So the article title is Cap Issues Could Force Pettersson Out of Pittsburgh. So let's get right into it. So, the Pittsburgh Penguins lost one of hockey's great general managers in Jim Rutherford. The man they replaced him with is well known for building teams, Ron Hextall. Former Philadelphia Flyers GM Ron Hextall is the new man in town. Though the Flyers eventually grew tired of Hextall's rebuilding efforts, they now reap the benefits. A full rebuild approach isn't likely with a Penguins roster that still has Sidney Crosby, Chris Letang, and Evgeny Malkin, but some retooling efforts will need to be made. The team is also tight up against the salary cap, which labels them as sellers this year's trade deadline. If they want to add this season, they have to move parts out. One player sticks out as a potential trade bait, Marcus Pettersson. His contract comes in at a little over $4 million per season, but his solid play makes him worthwhile for teams looking to add. Ian Mendez and Sean Gentile of The Athletic report that the Penguins' Pettersson contract simply won't fit on a Penguins team that has an extension for John Marino coming into effect in 2021, bringing it with a significant raise that makes him his entry-level deal to $4.5 million per season. Brian Dumoulin's contract is back to the books after his stint on the LTIR, especially with the acquisition of Mike Matheson and his almost $5 million, extremely looking like an issue right now. So let's take a look at the Pittsburgh Penguins, because right now they've got less than $1 million in cap space, and you look at their lack of draft picks as well. This is quite concerning for the Penguins, guys. So in 2021, the Penguins have let go of their first, third, fourth, and sixth round draft picks. But don't worry, they have 3 7th-round picks. Congrats. But what we're hearing from the Pittsburgh Penguins, there's a couple guys that could be on the move here. Now, the thing is, they've got guys on really good contracts. You got guys like Kapanen, Rust, Tanev at least $3 million, between $3 and $3.5 million for at least this year and next. So those guys, you're safe. But then you've got guys like Zach Aston-Reese, RFA, Teddy Bluger, RFA, Mark Jankowski, and Evan Rodriguez on the final year of their deals. You also have Cody Ceci, who I just assume they'll let go of Cody Ceci at this point. He hasn't been that great. But they have those burdening contracts of guys like Brian Dumoulin, Michael Matheson, and seemingly now even Chris Letang's contract. So the Pittsburgh Penguins, this is not an enviable spot, and we know that they've got some issues, absolutely. But what you're looking at is a team that they need some help in terms of depth. They don't have the depth in their prospects, and they don't have the cap space to really be contenders. So the good thing is they've got Casey DeSmith and Tristan Jarry locked up for this year and next. Good there. But then you start to have issues with guys being injured a lot, and that's really what's been hurting the Penguins. You've got Jason Zucker, $5.5 million on LTIR. Jared McCann, Mark Friedman, they're on injured reserve as well. So not a great spot for the Penguins. You have to assume that they're going to try and bring up some of their young guys at some point. Guys like Drew O'Connor, Samuel Poulet, who are some of these other names I've seen before? Cameron Lee, Pierre-Olivier Joseph on the defensive side. So the Penguins, they're in a heck of a predicament. And the thing is, you have to move out a guy. I mean, if you move out Brian Dumoulin, can you even do that? He's making $4.1 million for the next 3 years. Are they going to be able to move that? I think Marcus Pettersson is the guy for the next 5 years, just a shade over $4 million per season. Marcus Pettersson is the guy that's likely going to go. He's only 24 years old. This is a guy that Pittsburgh could desperately use, but because of their cap situation, he is the odd man out, and the guy they'll probably get the most value back in return for. So it's a tough spot. Like I said, ideally you trade a guy like Brian Dumoulin instead, but who's going to be a taker on Dumoulin right now, especially with his injury history? The last 2 years, he has not played a full, I think he's missed at least 20 games over the last 2 or 3 years in Pittsburgh. So who's going to spend over $4 million for a guy that's missing at least a quarter of the season over the last couple of years? So not good for the Pittsburgh Penguins, but we'll see what happens, because I'm trying to look at other names that would even draw interest, and I'm starting to see why we're hearing about Crosby and Malkin rumors, and it's not that I think they're going to trade them, but it's like, who else do you move out? There's not many other guys that you could really move out. There aren't many other options. So, like I said, guys, the Pittsburgh Penguins not in the best spot, but I think they could figure this out. They're going to be a seller at this year's trade deadline, but Marcus Pettersson will definitely draw some interest. So, guys, if you like what we're doing here at Goal Line Hockey, want to see the latest news around the NHL, you want to help us hit 1K subscribers, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and even bigger subscribe down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.